Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and we're also just hitting 90,000 subscribers on the channel. So in this video, I thought I'd reflect on where the channel has come from and what it can usefully do now, and wonder if better resourced pro-Brexit groups like, oh, I don't know, the Labour Party perhaps, might learn a few lessons. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please hit the subscribe button so that we can continue the relentless march onto 100,000 and click the bell notification icon. So not quite the final stretch, as I tend to count these things off in blocks of 5,000. They're nearly there, nearly there. Thank you to all the new subscribers, as well as the older ones that have stuck around. And with this channel, there were really two starts to it. So I began posting very random vlogs on the channel in early 2018. I had no real idea about providing any sort of focus. However, Brexit, that at the time was a political disaster for the country, but it was also an unstoppable train at the time. But then the train came off the rails in late 2018. So I had a few vlogs on Brexit and they did quite well. Then at the end of 2018, I decided to use 2019 to produce daily content on the channel on British politics, with a particular focus, of course, on the maddest of all aspects of British politics, Brexit. And so it's continued. And at the start of this process, I would say when I was reflecting that Brexit would cease to be a daily topic one day. I would keep discussing British politics, but I didn't know what level of interest there would be when politics started to get less crazy. But British politics didn't get less crazy, did it? It actually got more so. We got rid of the ineffectual Theresa May and installed Dominic Cummings as Prime Minister through the cunning use of Boris Johnson as an almost lifelike ventriloquist dummy. Then the dummy came to life and now Johnson is the Prime Minister and Cummings the sleeping tiger that some Conservative MPs have decided to poke. I think there'll be more on that in a video either later today or tomorrow. British politics just seems to get crazier and crazier. But I stand by my earlier statements that at some point it will have to calm down. It's just not doing so. It's not doing so as soon as I thought. I think this is going to run for a few years. But what difference do I make? Now, I don't inform policy for any group of influential politicians, don't even know who I am. Graham Hughes, Maximilian Robespierre, or his Irish alias at any rate, and myself had a discussion about various things on the Grassroots for Europe weekly vodcast this week. Now, I'll link it in the description below. If I forget, poke me in the comments and I'll put it there. Hopefully I remember. There were a couple of interesting questions that came up that I'd like to go over again here, maybe in a bit more detail. So the first was, what impact do I have? Max and I both agreed we're not exactly getting our message out to lots of Brexit supporters. Our videos draw a like to dislike ratio of nearly 100%. It's always very late 90s. If I do a particularly controversial video, or maybe Brexit supporters accidentally click on it because the thumbnail doesn't make it obvious, I might end up with just 95% likes. It's usually 97 to 99%. Oh, by the way, click the like button. Thank you. Social media, YouTube's no exception, is an echo chamber, unfortunately. It is better than most, I think. Like on Facebook. I mean, I don't really use Facebook very much, but I don't get pro-Brexit stuff coming up. Unless someone happens to link it in the Labour Party forums, but then they tend to get shot down quite quickly. On Twitter, I only get stuff to be used to ridicule it. But on YouTube, I do have pro-Brexit videos recommended to me. So I imagine pro-EU videos are also recommended to pro-Brexit viewers as well. But of course, they're largely not watching them. Just because it's shown on your recommended views doesn't mean to say you have to click on it. So what Max and I do? Well, I think my answer was to help those who are having debates and conversations with ideas for approaches. I still present arguments, and those arguments can be used by others and spread face to face that way. But might there be something else that we can do, albeit passively as well? So I was also asked a question on Facebook, of all places, because I almost never use it. I was asking why Labour aren't cutting through with issues like Operation Cygnus, austerity and so on. My response was they don't have an effective means of delivering their messages to the country. It depresses me at times whenever I see someone asking, well, why aren't Labour adopting this particular policy? And I think to myself, they have. I've seen a senior member of the party, maybe even Keir Starmer himself, make a speech backing such a policy. But the policies are worthless if people don't know about them. Labour they're getting some policies wrong, to be sure. But others, it's like they're whispering them when they need to be shouted from the rooftops. In the vodcast, we got onto the subject of the Labour Party's social media strategy. Now, the Labour Party is the only party that can possibly form a government. Not everyone watching this that is pro-European will necessarily be a fan of the Labour Party, but it is the only one that can form a government, whether on its own or in a coalition, that can get us back on the path to the EU. We cannot turn direction without a Labour Prime Minister. That is the fact of the matter. And so it's incumbent on all pro-Europeans in the UK to empower Labour to do just that. Of course, empowering them isn't the end of it. They also need guiding to use our support to face the right bloody direction. As part of the proceedings, I checked out the Labour Party's YouTube channel. Not really done this. I'm not a subscriber to it. And I could see why I'm not a subscriber to it when I looked. They have less than half the number of subscribers I do. Way less, in fact. And no wonder. You look at their content. Every couple of weeks, they put up a streamed meeting or a campaign ad. Now, by all means, put those up. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with those videos. Throw them up every couple of weeks. You can even throw one up every week. But that's all they've got there. How's that going to draw people in? First of all, rule number one for YouTube, if you want to get anywhere on YouTube, you have to post regular content. Ideally daily, at least weekly. It's not even that. So how are you going to draw people in? Labour do not get the mainstream media doing them any favours. The Mirror and The Guardian support them, sure, but even they have their own angles. The BBC are firmly under the control of the Conservatives now. If Labour want to get their message out, they have to do it themselves. Going out and meeting people has been impossible during most of the last year. They have started now. They've really started in earnest. They've clearly got a plan there. But you can only talk to so many people when you're out and about. Now, usually the idea is that the news reports on it and they will amplify those discussions. But that is not happening. Yes, the media will report when Starmer gets chucked out of a pub, and they'll even do follow-up interviews with the raging nutter that caused the fuss in the first place, but they won't report on the messages. Labour have to do that themselves. Looking through my analytics in this month of April alone, and we're not finished April yet, this month of April, about 3/4 of the month gone, I've had at least one of my videos watched by 134,000 unique UK-based viewers. Not counting people from outside of the UK. UK-based viewers, 134,000 different viewers. 81,000 of whom have returned to watch at least one other video this month. I've had over 2 million views of my videos altogether so far this month. Now, I can't view the detailed analytics for the Labour channel, of course, but I can see their overall views. I can see that in this same period of time, their total number of views is less than the average I get for just one of my 2 videos a day. As Graham Hughes has said, this is the largest party in the 6th largest economy in the world. They get fewer total viewers than I get on my channel before I've even had my breakfast. They get fewer than that in an entire month. And if I did have access to their analytics and could work out how many unique UK-based viewers that was, I'm sure it would be distressingly pathetic. It wouldn't surprise me if it's largely the same people, the same small group of people who were always going to vote Labour day in, day out if they could, watching it. And it's true that their following on other social media is better. You know, they've got nearly 1 million followers on Twitter, for example. I do follow them there. But that is missing out on a huge proportion of the population. There are people that watch YouTube and will not be on Twitter or not be on Facebook or not be on Instagram. They need to be active on all the major platforms. YouTube, I think, is also a particularly good platform. Well, of course I do. But sporadic campaign ads and meetings, not enough. Even posting clips of brutal takedowns of the Tories in Parliament as they post on Twitter, that's not enough either, not for YouTube. They need to post content that is engaging. That will draw people in. Fold your campaign messages, which, let's be honest, are boring. Most people find them dull. Sorry, but fold them into the more engaging content and they'd make such a difference. And it wouldn't be difficult. If I can bang out 2 videos a day, and I was doing 3 last year, then the Labour Party, with all their resources, can easily do the same. And the mad thing is, they wouldn't even need to hire a large team to do it. They could get pro-Labour personalities to do it for them, on top of their own in-house team. Get yourself half a dozen social media stars who are committed Labour supporters. I get that, there will be people wanting to help Labour as well that are not really committed Labour supporters. You wouldn't use those. You preferably want ones that are certainly committed Labour supporters, come what may, and preferably ones who don't align themselves with any of the brainless tribes within the party. You don't want people poking at that tiger. And you're on to a winner. Peter Stavanovich, whose video on Johnson's lies has exceeded 12 million views and is now being reported in the mainstream media. Well, that's one video. He does quite a lot of them. He's done work for the Communication Workers Union. I'm quite sure he'd be happy to do one of his videos a week for the Labour channel. If they can put up with my style, I'd happily do one myself. It'd be easy for them to find enough people to produce just one video a week that they could have daily content on their own channel. Then they would take off. They can use their own in-house team to fold in their own stuff within it and really boost their reach. It's simplicity itself. It doesn't need the mainstream media. They'd be drawing in huge potential audiences. They wouldn't even have to worry about community guidelines on YouTube if it's going to fall foul for monetization. They wouldn't care about the monetization. In fact, don't even put ads in it. Just use it for your messaging. If they got their approach right and could start getting their messages to ordinary people without relying on the traditional means that are increasingly shut off to them anyway. So if I'm able to do anything with the growth of the channel now beyond getting to be a YouTuber, because I have to say, it may come as some surprise. It's not a bad life, I have to say. Just getting up, shouting at the internet, and reading the news. Brilliant. But if it's going to do any wider good, I'd be as proud as punch if I could be used as an example of what can be achieved if you just embrace the potential of social media intelligently. But those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. Hope you found the video interesting. If you did, don't forget to click the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel further, please also click the Patreon link for details. And until next time, I'll see you later.